sâu với mức giá cực kỳ ưu đãi như đăng ký brand với USBTO, tuần theo link thêm, tuần trên Scout, logistics và warehouse. Xem hình thông tin chi tiết dưới phần mô tả nhé.
Alright, so in this video we're going to be using the new KD boosted listing wizard to optimize one of our existing listings. So if you've been following along in the training thus far, you know how to essentially aggregate all of your data and get down here through step 4 where we've added some main competitor keywords from either your Helium 10 source, on Guru source. You know how to add manual keywords and just kind of get all of the data compiled here on the listing wizard tab. So once you get to this point, the next step is you can obviously optimize your current listing content, which is going to be up here in this section here. Big part of this video is going to be showing you how to quickly assign the priorities here based on which keywords that you're going to want to target. And I've got a quick SOP off here to the right that I'm going to be following along with. The first section here that I'm going to be talking about though is just making sure you want to do a double check that you've got a good set of keywords and you haven't missed any steps there. So let's real briefly go back over that. We've ran our main competitor keyword source. You can see here in the source column it says CR, that stands for Cerebro. The 3 stands for the score, so you can just tell by looking at that column that we had that minimum score threshold set to 3. You can also see some alpha ASINs here. I want to go back and double check and make sure I got all of them though. As you can see, that's one of my steps here that I like to do. And what that's doing, if I go back to my source tab here and open up the Helium 10 Cerebro section, as you can see, I have all of them checked here. And then what that's doing, it's taking this number 10 and anything that, let's see, that would have been set to 3 in that case. Anything that is either a score 1 or 2 and then has a organic rank of 10 or better, then it would have pushed those alpha ASIN keywords over. So you can real quickly just double check. I'm not going to do it because I just ran it, but you would go here, add alpha ASINs, and then it would push all those alpha ASINs. Now let's say, for example, though, I want to add all the 2s that would fall 30 or better, 30 to, I guess, organic position 1. You could at this point say, okay, I want to add some more based on that criteria. I'm going to change this to 2. I'm going to come up here now. I'm going to add my Helium 10 Cerebro keywords, and then we will let this run, hit yes. And then this option that pops up here, you're actually going to want to append the new findings to our current list. So if you read it here, if you want to append new data, you're going to press yes, and it says if you don't have any keywords, which we do, you're going to hit no. So we're going to hit yes in this case, and it's essentially going to take anything that is a score of 2 now, since we didn't have that before, and add it to our list. So before we optimize our listing, I'm just kind of showing you a couple other options of adding some keywords. This next one here, we're going to add at least the top 30 from our search query report, just because that's really solid data from Amazon, and it's saying, hey, here's your best 30 keywords. It actually goes from 1 to 1,000, but it's going to tell us what our top keywords that are performing on our brand are currently. So we're definitely going to want to have those on our list if we haven't added them yet. All right, so once that's changes to finished, we could go over and look at those on our list right now, but I'm just going to hop over to the search query report and make sure I've got the top 30 at least. So the rank is what you want to pay attention to. You can see I was playing around here earlier. You can always go like that and clear your checkboxes, but what you're going to want to do is come up here and go to search query report, and you put a table just around this selection here. So that's what that operation does. All right, and then you can sort by rank, A to Z, and I'm going to see what's already on the list by clicking this little icon here. All right, and you can see I've got a couple here, that one, that one, that one, and you could go all the way up to like 50, wouldn't be a bad idea. Let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll just add those manually. Click that button. All right, and then once you get the finished script there, you can go back to the listing wizard tab now, and you'll see some manual keywords have been added at the bottom. So those are the ones we just added. And then one other thing I like to do is add any missing brand analytics keywords if I hadn't done that yet. So I'm just going to go back and double check, make sure I have them all. All right, and then for brand analytics, just make sure you're sorted by search frequency rank, and then buzz down through real quick and just make sure there's no other really highly relevant words that you might be missing out on. So there's like golf travel case or travel golf case. I'm surprised that one's not on there. So I'm going to pick that, and again, you could have done this all in one operation along with the search query report, but I'm going to go ahead and add that really quick, and then we can get started optimizing the listing. All right, so now I'm going to hop over to the listing wizard tab and kind of get started here for assigning my priorities, and the goal is going to be to just assign a numerical value here in the priority column that once I get all of them kind of filled in with what their priority should be, then I'll go back and be able to sort that column in order to plug in kind of the most highly relevant and best keywords that I can in my title, bullets, so on and so forth. Now, what I like to do, there's many different ways to kind of set this listing wizard tab up. There's some different view presets you can see up here. I've been experimenting around because this is such a new tool. I'm sure pretty much every user is going to want to do things a little bit differently, but I'm just going to share here one that has been working well for me and that I think does a good job at kind of conveying all the data and is more of a systematic way to quickly assign your priorities. So I've got it kind of listed here. First, I'm going to turn on the optimize mode and then the freeze mode. So the way you do that, just come up here. Standard mode is kind of what you're seeing here, where you've got all your different sections off to the right here. And then you've got some of the advanced tools we're going to be using towards the end of this video off to the far right. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn on this optimize listing mode, and it's going to condense it down to, I think it does just my product and then hide some additional columns. So I'm going to hit yes. This just makes things a little bit easier to manage and easier on the eyes. So I'm going to hit OK. You can see also I like to put it in freeze mode at this point. So just come here, freeze mode on. And this makes it easier to kind of scroll right to left if you want to see certain data, and you can filter any of these columns here that get a filter around them. Now, if your filter isn't showing up, you may have disabled it for whatever reason. You can always click this clear all button, and this is going to remove any current filters and then put a filter around your entire target keyword list. And you'll notice that if you go over to the right, it stops where this black column changes to green. So essentially when you filter any of these column headers, this entire section that is all black column headers is going to change the order, or filter or sort, stuff like that. So after I get those done, I'm going to decide, do I want to see from my keyword research metrics if I'm running Cerebro, ZonGuru. We're going to have other main keyword sources here in the future. You can see both of them at the same time if you've got both of those data points in there, but right now I just have the Cerebro and it's already set to the Cerebro mode, so I'm just going to leave it there. But at this point, if I wasn't, I would just click Cerebro and then enable that, and then that would just kind of show you what I'm looking at here. All right, one thing I like to do, I would say it's probably an optional step, but it kind of helps me just benchmark my listing against one of the top competitors. And if I've got somebody that is very highly relevant to my product in a similar price point range especially, I like to actually go ahead and show their listing next to mine. So this listing here is mine with the star that for this example that I'm pretending, and it's a $90 product. You can see this guy is at 60, but this guy here is at 213. So that's quite a bit of a big change there. So I'm going to compare my listing against this guy making 250, because right now I'm making 160. So what I'll do there is actually just deselect that, and I will go ahead and deselect those there. So I'm just showing my listing is always obviously in view, which is right here in column Y. And then I'm going to enable his listing now. And I actually want to see kind of all these main search volume related market share metrics. So I'm going to click that. And then I'm just going to actually hit this compare ASINs icon. If for some reason your Google Sheets are not showing this icon, you may need to update your Google Chrome, or you may need to refresh the sheet entirely. Sometimes if you bounce back and forth between tabs, it's very odd. It's a Google Chrome issue, so it doesn't actually happen on my computer much, but I have seen it happen. Sometimes you can use Firefox as well. So hopefully it works fine for you. If not, you'll just have to, there'll be a little box that you can still click on and the icons will work. It's just for whatever reason your Google Sheets isn't loading them at that point. Anyway, you can see what it did. It's enabled us to see that ASIN now side by side with ours. And now we can quickly filter. For example, if we want to see all of the keywords that this guy's got in his title in exact form, I can filter and use this column to really quickly get a short list of those. So you can see kind of the benefits of why we're setting it up this way. All right, so that's that step. Now what I want to do is actually deploy some of these advanced features over here to the right side. So, and this just is going to help us start assigning these priority columns really fast, because it's going to help us weed out some of the things like branded terms that would obviously come across here if some of the brands are really ranking highly for their own terms, which they would. So we want to know what those are really quick so we're not staring at them for an hour here while we're optimizing our listing. So what you'll just want to do is deploy the keyword frequency and then the brand list feature. So come up here. So you see it's kind of in order of how I run the operation. So check keyword frequency is going to populate this section right here. All right, so you can see what it did. It's essentially taken our target keyword list and split out by singular words and told us the number of occurrences and then the total search volume for whenever those occurrences show up in one of the longer tail phrases. All right, so now that we've done that, let's also run our popular brands. And this is just going to give us a kind of master list of some of the main brands in this niche. And we're going to copy these now and actually paste it here in the remove list. So I'm just going to hit Control-Shift-V. All right, and then after we add those terms to this remove list, we want to come up and actually hit Refresh Flag Terms. And this is going to show us now in our target list and then also in our frequency list anytime that these brand names show up. And it's really nice because we can just now come up here, sort Z to A, and then all these terms are going to jump to the top. And I go ahead and, as you can see, use remove list to mark all brand terms 3. So this is a way to just quickly say, okay, these are all branded terms. I'm going to go ahead and just drag that down, mark those 3 from the beginning. All right, and then the next thing I like to do is I actually just like to look at my top competitor, which in this case is this guy I'm going after. And I'll just mark anything in his top 10 a number 1 because they're going to be ones I really want to look at if I know he's doing that well for him. So for that, I'm just going to sort this now A to Z, and then that'll put his organic rank. He's got some that are 0 on here, so I'm going to clear that. And then any of these are going to become a 1, except if they're branded terms, I'll leave that as a 3. So you can see I just buzzed down through. I guess what I could have done that would have made it even faster is filter by condition and is between, actually less than, let's see, less than or equal to 10. I think that'll get me what I need. All right. Yeah, there we go. All right, and then we'll just make all these number 1s. All right, so that's that step. All right, now what I like to do is sort by my top performers. So we've got some kind of quick filters here that you can set the criteria on the settings tab. We went over that in a previous video. So I'm just going to do my top performers, and you can see it gives us the bound right now. We want to see anything that has a 1 to 10, and this is organic rank, and this is my listing, and then a search volume greater than 100. So these are just, we're assigning a number 1 to these just because we want to make sure we stay doing, really well for them. So, all right. And then one other filter I like to do is the search term query report, and I'll set all those that are highly relevant to a number 1. And that would have been the top 50 or whatever I brought in. So with that, I'm going to clear my table now because I did have some filters applied, and then we're going to use our rank field here to sort A to Z, and then I'll scroll up. All right, and then you just want to, we'll look at only the blanks because we've already assigned most of these. Okay, so here you can see we've got not too bad of a list here. Actually, some of these are going to be blank, so let's get those out. All right, so we've got, looks like 103 keywords, is that right? No, 54 keywords, it just updated. So 54 keywords. I would go down through this one by one and assign the priority scale. If it's high relevance, a number 1. If it's a medium relevance, a number 2. We've already got most of the branded, so there shouldn't be too many branded. There could be some if they were like Titleist or something like that maybe, but the other thing too is search volume. So if they're like over, I'd say 300 search volume, I'm probably going to mark them a number 4, which I do is irrelevant just because they're just not enough search volume to mess with. So let me check for that real quick. So yeah, some of these are just really low. So I'm going to put a 4 on anything. Let's see, let's just scroll up here. Let's go up to like 350. All right, so now we've only got a few here we really need to tend with, and it looks like all of these are really relevant. Yeah, so I'm gonna just mark all those a 1. Now let's look at one more. Filter the competitor winners, and I like to rank manually those just because you will find some that aren't relevant. So to go there, I just come back here, competitor winners. And you could have just as easily gone through your list one by one. I like to just go through this kind of step-by-step process because it really is more efficient for me. And once you're kind of done with it, you'll see that you've got a really solid ranking on all your keywords, and then you can sort it by search volume and just kind of optimize your listing from there. But anyway, for these here, I'll go ahead and just show me the blanks and then see what I've got left. So I have no clue what that is. So I'm going to mark it a 4. It might mean something in Chinese. And then I'll go down through one by one on this, and then I'll either mark it irrelevant or a 1 or 2. So let's see, travel bag of holding. I would say that is a 4 because it could be a travel bag of what? Ping cart bag. Now that is a branded term, so that was not in the original list. Club golf glove skin. Glove skin may be a branded term. I'm going to say that's irrelevant. Tour trek push. I'd say that's probably irrelevant. Alabama Crimson Tide golf bag. So that's 2 maybe. Cover travel bag. That's kind of a complimentary. Actually, no, that travel bag, that's not going to be relevant. Not relevant enough. It could be talking about a golf bag, but it could be talking about another type of travel bag. So I would mark that a 4. I'm really just looking for anything highly relevant in this process. So anything that's not alluding to, honestly, like golf, I'm probably not going to pick it. Travel case with wheels, that could be any travel case. Bat travel case. I guess you could use the golf travel cases for a bat, but in our case, I'm looking for really highly relevant stuff. Alabama golf bag is talking about a golf bag, but that could be like your golf bag you're taking on the course with you. Actually, that could have been the same as this as well. So yeah, 2, I would say, just because that's kind of the medium relevance. And I'm more just going to be focused on the number 1s here. So 2 is just keep the keywords in the list and not delete them out. That's why I name it a 2. Amazon golf or USA golf bag. That could be a 2 or a 4. Golf bag replacement. Travel roller bag. Ladies golf bag clearance. So that filter there is paying attention to all the top 10. So I may have accidentally put a golf bag in here. I'm not 100% sure why some of those are showing up. Anyway, so now we've got kind of our priority quick sorts done. Now what I like to do is just go back and I'll manually check the ones that are still blank. You shouldn't have a ton of them at this point, but you will obviously have some. So, and most of these are going to probably be 2s or 4s, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to look real quick and see if I see any 1s. Travel golf case, I'd say that's a 1. Golf club protector travel. Golf club travel support protection. Hard golf bag, that potentially could be 1. I'd probably make that a 1. Golf travel bag, hard top. Yeah, so all these other ones now will get probably a 4. So I'm just going to hit OK again. And then to finish up here, I'll mark all these a 4. So now we've assigned our priorities for all of our targets. Obviously, it can be done multiple different ways. Like I said, that's just an efficient way I've found to kind of go through and segment out kind of from the most important things to the least important, and then just make good use of your time. So hopefully that kind of example made sense. So from now on, we're just going to be focused on actually creating the most optimized copy in our listing. And I'll show you kind of the benchmarks and some of the graphical representation in this tool that I use to do that. And then the final step is we're going to actually optimize our search terms. So we're going to leave our search terms till the end. We're going to go title, bullets, and then we're going to come back up and do our search terms. So I don't pay a lot of weight on description or the EBC. What I like to do at the end is just try to add in more terms that potentially I haven't added in. So I'll kind of show you that at the last step. So, all right, so let's kind of reset, and I'm just going to click the clear table here. This is going to show us our entire kind of master list. And then this button right here actually sorts by our priority and search volume kind of at the same time. So I'm going to hit yes, and that just kind of kicks everything into the right precedent that you're going to want to look at all the priority ones and then everything with the higher search volume top to bottom. So now if I scroll up to the top, you'll see what it did. All right. So now that we've got that, we've kind of got an ordered target keyword list that we can now go through. Anything that's colored, you can see is already going to be in the corresponding elements. So right there, the title, you can see golf bag travel case right there at the end. So I just typed it in kind of randomly. It looks like as a previous example. But what I like to do now is I like to look and see kind of who has the best title right now of our top competitors from a exact search volume standpoint. So right now, this guy that I have selected has the best title from just a kind of search volume credit standpoint. So what you can do is actually sort by this here, A to Z, and that's going to kick all of his so he doesn't have many. Usually more examples, they'll have quite a bit more, but you can only fit so many, long tail exact phrase form in your title that are going to make readable sense. So, but what you can do is say, okay, if he's making 100 grand more than me and these terms that he's listing in his title make a lot of sense, then why try to invent the wheel? Let's do what's working on Amazon right now and use those. So you can use his title as well. If you click in here, this version right now I'm using has a formula in here, but we're going to have it to where these are actual values. So instead of that, it's going to look like that if I paste the values. So you can actually just look at his title, see how he's kind of combining those golf travel bag with wheels. So he's got golf travel bag and then with wheels. So because he's using this long tail keyword here, he's getting credit for all of those. So that would be an example of something we could do. So we just go back up here and say outdoor padded golf club travel bag. So we could change that golf travel bag with wheels, and then that would get us the credit there. So I'm actually going to hide that. Okay, so from there, it's just a matter of obviously going down through here and trying to plug in as many of these terms in your title, bullets, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause it here and come back after I've added quite a few of them, and then we'll talk about our search terms. One other thing you can do here that's pretty handy, you can show this listing optimization dashboard, and it's going to give you some benchmarks on, again, these top 10 competitors. And you can compare kind of where you're sitting for your title and then bullets side by side and kind of use this to help optimize things. It also helps if you make your screen resolution a little bit smaller, so you probably won't be able to see this as well, but it's easier for me to kind of operate. But I'm going to actually pause this right now and take a few minutes and try to plug in some more keywords here, and then I'll be back once I've tried to optimize it as good as I can. So, all right, so I'm kind of just randomly plugging these words in here without much thought. You're going to want to obviously spend quite a bit of time trying to strategically place them to where it actually reads well and it's not obviously over keyword stuffing. I do tend to err on the side of trying to plug more keywords in than making as readable as possible. So you just got to kind of find the right balance there. But basically, we're just kind of going again from the top of the list down for our priority number ones, plugging them in trying to get the highly most relevant keywords in there. And anytime you find one that is, again, maybe like a cart golf bag, that's not really a travel case. So you can either use kind of this checkbox if you want to just not worry about that one now. You could change the priority if you want. There's also a notes field here. You can kind of expand if you want to add notes while you're doing this. That's something that is an option. So a few different ways you can handle those. But again, the main goal is to just try to get as many of these in there as you can. And then once you've gotten that, I'm going to go ahead and skip to the next step. Just assume we've taken the time and optimized this as good as we can. You're going to actually filter out all of the ones that have a color on them, and then that's going to leave us with any that are not included in our listing at this point. So probably the best way to do that is we want to start with all the priority ones first. And if you have kind of accounted for all of those, you can move on to the priority twos, or you have the option of bringing in more keywords from your source list as well if you don't like the ones you have in there. So but I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to go back to my default sort for the fun of it, and sort by priority and then search volume, just to make sure I didn't do any other sorts in the meantime. Looks like I've got a few here that I was messing with. All right, so that kind of kicks me back to this point here. Now I'm just going to look at my ones and twos. Or actually, let's just look at the number ones for now, and let's see what we get from there on our search terms. All right, so we're just looking at our number ones. All right, and now I'm actually going to sort this by color, and I want to see all my white terms at the top because that's going to tell me the ones that I haven't optimized for, and it's going to keep the search volume kind of sorted highest to lowest. So now what I want to do is just select all of these. And we're going to go, you can see some of these that some of my competitors were ranked for have low search volume. So I'm just going to do like from there down. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to hop over to our more phrases to rank feature here, and we're going to actually scroll up to the top, and we've already copied our data here. So what you can do is actually undo the sort here, and this will redo your table. It's good to kind of always redo your table anytime you're messing with these options that are outside of your main table, just to make sure you've kind of got everything copy and pasted correctly. So I'm going to hit Control-Shift-V now, and you can see I've pasted now all of those terms that I haven't been able to get into my listing copy. And what I'm doing now is I'm going to optimize for my search terms. So if you're familiar with brand analytics, they've got a feature called the search term optimizer. This essentially does the exact same thing. The only thing is you can't use the search term optimizer for brand new listings because Amazon doesn't really have any data to go off of yet, but you can use this. And what this is going to do is it's going to, first we come up here and hit search term optimizer process phrase list. This is going to take this entire list, and I'm actually going to close out of that, and then just kind of concatenate everything all into one block. So if you see now, if we take this, if we were allowed to have however many bytes or whatever are here, and I'm just going to click into this cell here and hit Control-Shift-V, and you'll see it paste it all up in there. Let's see how many total. 1,053. If I was allowed to have that many, I would get credit for all of those, but you're not allowed to have that many. You can only have, I think, 250 on the search terms there. So what this script's going to do when we hit optimize search terms is it's going to look at our title, all the bullets, if we would have filled in our description, EBC, all that stuff. And it's going to look at the singular words and pick out all the permutations for the combined combinations you can make out of those single words to make all of these phrases. And it's going to leave us with just the words left over that we haven't included yet in our listing. And with that, we'll get credit for all of those permutations. So that's super powerful. So what I'm going to do now is just come up here and actually hit the right button, optimize search terms. And this is going to dedupe everything for us and leave us with a nice little list here that we can just copy. And same deal, I'm going to now overwrite this. So if you click once in here and actually hit Control-A, that highlights everything, and hit Control-V, that pastes everything. So now if I hit enter, wow, I did not plan that, but 249 is very close to 250, so I would say I'm done with this kind of example. All right, so in this example, I did illustrate all of the current kind of advanced keyword list tools with just this simple example. The other thing I wanted to mention though at the end of this video is I obviously did not spend very much time thinking through my listing copy, and that's honestly one of the most important stages here you don't want to gloss over. It should take you, hours to make this really, really strong. If you hire a copywriter that knows what they're doing from an Amazon space standpoint, that's even better. There's tools like Jasper as well that you can also look at that are like AI based, and you can plug in your listing copy to date. You can plug in keywords, stuff like that, and really try to get a really strong, readable title, bullets, description that just make everything really pop. The other thing I didn't touch on either is the EBC. That's a bit of a more advanced kind of input, but if you know how to look up the metadata off listings, you can plug in. There's behind every image on your listing, there's some keyword potential there. So if you want to input those in a listing wizard, you can make use of them here in this screen as well. You can also input them for your competitors. All right, and before I sign off, I did not have this listing optimization dashboard in view for most of this video, but it's really useful for, again, comparing and benchmarking your title and bullets against your competitors. And these competitors really aren't that strong from their listing copy standpoint. A lot of them have just been around for 10 years on Amazon, so that's why they're doing so well. But the competitors you're going to be looking at are likely going to have a lot better, stronger benchmarks here. You can use this view here to help optimize your copy. So and then this section over here just provides more of some rank-based metrics. So when you're actually optimizing your listing, they're not going to be as useful, but for product research and other things like that, this kind of waterfall graph can be helpful as well. So, and then there's obviously other sorts and filters and all sorts of ways you could design a SOP to optimize your listing. I would argue that creating a brand new listing from scratch versus kind of revamping existing listings are going to be potentially a different operating procedure. So just definitely think through those, and you'll be able to use this tool kind of to help accomplish a variety of tasks. You've got a lot of like keyword research data over here that you can use. There's your search query report, brand analytics. We could have done filters by that we didn't show in the example. The other interesting one is the PPC column in the Zonguru. If you had that enabled, you could potentially run some sorts off of that. So anyway, I hope you guys see the power in this. It's really helpful to do periodically on your listings to really bring them back to life and gain more kind of market share in just ranking for more of those keywords. So that is the name of the game, guys. I will see you on the next training video. I appreciate it. See ya.
Anh chị đang bán hàng trên Amazon. Scout cung cấp các dịch vụ dành cho các nhà bán hàng trên Amazon với mức giá cực kỳ ưu đãi như đăng ký brand với USBTO, tuần theo link tôi cho Scout, logistics và warehouse. Xem hình thông tin chi tiết dưới phần mô tả nhé.